Today we're going to look at color correction inside of Premiere Pro. So when you first open Premiere, typically you're in the default editing workspace, and we're just going to switch to the color workspace by selecting color along the top of the workspace. And notice we've had some new panels that have opened up on the right hand side, and that's going to be the key to what we are working with today. So just to give you a brief overview, inside the Lumetri color panel, whatever video you have selected is the one that you are working on, and you get the preview right here in the program panel. And you can see you have the basic correction, creative, curves, and curves adjusts midpoint, so kind of mid-tone shadows, mid-tone highlights. You can work in a color wheel, hue, saturation, lightness, and some special effects called vignettes. Most of the time you'll be living here in the basic correction panel. So I'll go ahead and select that. So one of the most powerful tools is the white balance selector. And the way this works is if you've shot a video and maybe it is a little too cool or a little too hot, has some yellow or some blue tones to it, you can select that white balance selector, select something that you know should be white, and that'll correct that white balance color for you. That's also known as a temperature tint correction. And if ever you don't like a correction, you can go in, double click, and return those to 0. So again, that change, just a little white balance correction. Next change I want to show you is how you can do an overall tone and exposure control. So in this scene, I just have some real bright areas and then some areas that are kind of in a shadow. So I'm going to bring the exposure just up a little bit just to bring out these areas. I don't really need any more contrast, but I do want some of these highlights to be brought down. So you can see that change up in that area. I'm also going to bring up some of my shadows, and you can see that lightening happening here. I'm going to bring down some of my whites. Again, that's going to make some changes up here. So that is my tone changes. So the way you correct these is start with doing this overall temperature white balance correction, then go down and correct your tone. So it's exactly in order that you need to make changes. Another helpful window to have open and give yourself a little more insight to what is going on is the Lumetri Scopes. So what you want to see in your Lumetri Scopes is that your color goes all the way from 100 down to 0. 100 are your light points and 0 are your dark points. So let's practice this with our last clip. So you can see we have some adjustments here to do. So we can start with our white balance, and we want to bring up our exposure a little bit on this video. And I don't want to blow things out, so I just want to kind of cautiously watch this lighter area. And so that's a pretty good selection. I've got some of my points hitting 100% white. I've got my darks here. Might want to bring those just up a little bit so they're just kind of kissing that 0 line. And so there's the after of my correction. If I click this button, I can reset that. And so that's what it looked like before. So you can see those corrections really did increase the tone and improve the video. So that's how you can work with color correction inside Premiere Pro.